This is National Native News. I'm Antonia Gonzalez. A British Columbia First Nation is suing the operator of a fuel barge, which spilled diesel near its reserve. Jacob Resnick has more.
Heiltsuk First Nations member Kelly Brown got close enough in his boat to make out the name of a grounded tug.
Nathan E. Stewart sunk, and there's fuel just flowing out of the boat.
He shared video of the encounter in the Inside Passage that was reposted by the Vancouver Sun. Fortunately, the tug's accompanying fuel barge had delivered its load in Ketchikan and was nearly empty. Still, around 26,000 gallons of diesel and other oils from the southbound tug Nathan E. Stewart spilled that morning. An investigation later found a crew member had fallen asleep during watch. Nearly 2 years later to the day, the Heiltsuk Tribal Council filed a lawsuit against the BC and Canadian governments. The suit also names crew members and their employer, Houston-based Kirby Corporation, which regularly ships fuel from Washington state to ports in Alaska. The Heiltsuk First Nations Hereditary Chief Frank Brown addressed reporters in Vancouver.
Our law has been violated, and the legal action we are taking in the BC Supreme Court today is our attempt, our bid to hold industry and government accountable for this negligence.
The Kirby Corporation released a short statement saying its lawyers were reviewing the claim. The company would defend its interests in court. BC's Environment Ministry said it's committed to engaging with the First Nation tribe as appropriate for a federally led initiative seeking ocean protection. Citing the lawsuit, neither would comment further. The October 13, 2016 spill ignited concerns about Canada's spill response capabilities in the Inside Passage. It reportedly took the first Canadian Coast Guard vessel 20 hours to reach the spill site from its port in Prince Rupert. The Heiltsuk First Nations has been pushing for spill response capabilities of its own. Those efforts were redoubled last November when an Alaska-bound fuel barge ran into trouble near Bella Bella, BC. The northbound Jake Shearer broke free from the fuel barge it was towing. This time it was fully loaded with about 3.7 million gallons of various petroleum fuels, but its crew was able to drop anchors before it hit the rocks. Marilyn Slett is the elected chief counselor of the tribe. She said Alaska-bound fuel barges remain a worry around her hometown, Bella Bella.
And our community has definitely raised a lot of concern around the articulated barges. And, certainly we're living through the experience with the Nathan E. Stewart and the near miss with the Jake Shearers.
The Canadian government has proposed exclusionary zones for oil tankers in the Inside Passage, but the Alaska-bound fuel barges are below the tonnage threshold and would be exempt from the rule. I'm Jacob Resnick.
A memorial walk this week in South Dakota acknowledged 45 children who passed away in the Rapid City Indian Boarding School. A crowd of more than 200 people took part in the event, which included the reading of names. Organizer Heather Dawn Thompson.
Charles Long Turkey, 15 years old, Lower Brule. Dorothy Cryer, 12 years old, Pine Ridge. Evelyn Day, 15 years old, Crow Creek. Female child, number 1, year 1919, tribe unknown.
Thompson says there are likely more than 100 others who passed away due to disease, malnutrition, or froze to death while trying to escape. Volunteers are continuing to look for further information. The Kansas City Star reports a Republican official has resigned after comments about Democratic Native American congressional candidate Sharice Davids. A social media message by Michael Clanny to a women's Democratic group went public this week, which said in part, "Your radical socialist kickboxing lesbian Indian will be sent backpacking to the reservation." Davis is openly gay and has competed as an amateur and professional fighter. She's running for the hotly contested 3rd Congressional District seat. I'm Antonia Gonzalez.
National Native News is produced at the Annenberg National Native Voice Studios by Quantic Broadcast Corporation. Funding is by Odawi Law Group, provider of Indian law solutions, and by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, with support from the Public Radio Satellite System.
Support by BNSF Railway, an American Indian Science and Engineering Society Top 50 employer. BNSF's ACES scholarships support Native American students in science, technology, engineering, and math. Info at bnsf.com.
And by the law offices of Sonosky, Chambers, Saxe, Miller, and Monkman, a national tribal rights law firm with offices in Washington, D.C., New Mexico, California, and Alaska, and online at sonosky.com.
Native Voice One, the Native American Radio Network.